Welcome to a No God Else quick story. There was a little girl that went out in the back of her home where a lot of woods were. And she used to always go out there and see if she could find the most important and unique things that she could bring out to her home. And every day, the little girl would find trinkets and rocks and things of that sort, unique things, and she would take it back to her house and she would store it into her closet or around her bed or anything like that, something to remind her that she had found something special. She was always very, very careful with the items that she brought to the home. She took care of them. She cleaned them up when she brought them into the house and things of that sort. Well, one day she stumbled upon this unique flower. It was unlike any other flower she had seen in her life. And it was so, special looking that she couldn't help herself. She could not bear the thought of leaving that flower there. And what she did, she went back to her house. She grabbed tools to dig up the flower the right way. She's going to bring it up and with the soil and the root, make sure it had, everything it needed for life. She brought it back to her house, put it in a pot, and stuck it by her bed. And every morning she would get up and she would give water to this plant, and she would speak to it and show it love. And every night she would go to bed thanking God for this unique flower that she had found in her, and that was a part of her life. And she prayed every night for the well-being of that flower. Well, over the passing of days, the flower started to wither. And so she started adding even more water to it and trying to repot it and make sure there was no, obstructions that, would keep the plant from, thriving into her pot that she had created for him. And so no matter what she did, the flower still continued to wither, and it finally died. So she took it to her father and she asked her father, what did she do wrong? Because she had given this flower food, she had given this flower love, and it still died. And the father said to her that one of the basic things that she had forgotten to allow the flower to receive was light. It didn't even matter how much food or how much love she gave the flower. It was eventually going to die without light, the proper light. And it wasn't light from her room that it could survive off of. It needed the proper light, the sunlight that it was naturally supposed to have. And so that brings me to a point, because a lot of us in our lives, we are like that little girl that takes that flower into our room. We have people we've taken into our room, into our lives, and we've fed them, and we've nurtured them, and we've given them love. But what is missing from that person's life and from our lives, or the unity of those two lives, is God. And we forget that sometimes love and food are not enough to grow relationships, to grow ourselves, or to help grow others. And so that is a very important lesson I think that you need to take with you. A lot of us think that we can salvage relationships just straight off of love, or straight off of, being a supplier or a provider, that somehow is enough to make that person love us. And they don't even love themselves. They don't even know what love is because they don't know Christ. They truly don't know Christ. Or we're in relationships where we are at odds with the things that God has provided to us to follow. And we're wondering why our relationships don't work, because God is not a part of that relationship, because you're not in a position to receive light like the flower. See, we forget that God is an order God. If you want sunlight, you must put yourself in a position to receive sunlight as a flower. You must be placed in a position to receive sunlight as a flower. So if you want God's help in your relationship, if you want God's help in your life, if you want God's help in anything that you seek to accomplish, then you have to put yourself in a position to receive him. And the only way you're going to do that is to put yourself in alignment with his word. We want to think that we can do what we want to do and God will somehow bless us regardless. And that's not how God works. That's not how his word works. That's not how any example of the scriptures work. We have a responsibility to follow the things that he told us to follow. And without us following those things, then we cannot expect to grow. We cannot expect to thrive in our environment. We cannot expect to live. And that is the message I want to pass over to you. Until next time, guys.